The next topic we're going to look at is how to simplify cube roots. So instead of looking at the second column, we're going to look at the table of perfect cubes, such as 1, 8, 27. So like the cube root of 8 is 2 because 2 times 2 is 4 times 2 is 8. However, if I put a negative sign on 8, so the cube root of negative 8 will become negative 2 because negative 2 times negative 2 is positive 4. But when you multiply again by another negative 2, it will become negative 8. So be careful with that. Adjust the sign as needed. So let's try the cube root of negative 128. So under the third column, the closest to 128 is 125, but definitely 125 is not a factor. So we're going to try 64, because 64 can divide 128. Ooh, that's my 3-year-old. Okay, you can hear her in the background. Anyway, so this is cube root of negative 64 times 2, right? Because 2 times 64 is 128. So we can break that apart into cube root of negative 64 times the cube root of 2. Now be very careful. Do not forget to write the index, which is 3, because if you lose the index, you might end up putting the answer here as, negative 8. But negative 8 times negative 8 will give you positive 64 if you're squaring it. So common mistake is that students do not carry over the index from the original problem. So, they end up giving the wrong answer. So the cube root of negative 64 is, well, we know the cube root of 64 is positive 4. So if it's negative, then you turn this into negative 4. Now, 2 is not a perfect cube, so we're just going to bring it down. So the final answer is negative 4 cube root of 2. Alright, let's try the next one. Cube root of 125 x to the 7th power. So let's break it apart. Cube root of 125. Now, for the x to the 7, if you remember earlier, we were breaking it down into, even powers. So this time, you want the exponent of your variable to be divisible by 3. So what's the biggest multiple of, 3 that we can take out from 7? Well, I think it's 6, right? So we will write x to the 6th power. So in other words, we're breaking this down into x to the 6 and 7. So why 6 again? Because 3 can divide by 6. Yeah? So we have another left over here. So cube root of x. Alright, so now let's get the answer. Cube root of positive 125 is 5. There you go. Now cube root of x to the 6. So you divide 6 by 3 right there. 6 divided by 3 is 2. So this will become x to the 2nd power. So maybe you're wondering, how did that happen? Well, because x to the 6 is the same as x2 times x2 times x2. Remember, when you do rules of exponents, if they have the same base, then you add the exponents 2, 4, 6. So that means when you multiply x to the 2nd by itself 3 times, you get x to the 6th. So that's basically what cube root means. Okay, going back here. Where am I? Okay, so here. So we've done that already. Now this is not a perfect cube, so you just bring down cube root of x. So this is the final answer. Alright, I hope you got that one. Let's move on and try some more. Here we go. This time, we're going to look at quotients of cube roots. So, let's break it down again. Cube root of the numerator over the cube root of the denominator. There we go. So, well, the exponent here is 1, which is less than the index, so that means we're just going to bring it down. Okay, now cube root of 216. This is 216 over here. So the cube root of 216 is 6. Awesome. Alright. Where's this 2 far down there? Okay. Next. Let's do this. Start with the 8. So cube root of 8. And then cube root of. So what's the number here? What's the exponent? That's divisible by 3. 3, right? Break it down into 3 and 1. So this will become x3. And then cube root of the remainder, which is x1. All over cube root of 27. And then the cube root of y to the third. So we're going to keep that because, 3 is divisible by 3. So let's write down the answers here. What's the cube root of 8? Cube root of 8 is 2. There you go. So 2. 3 divided by 3 is 1. So this will just become x to the first power. So x. But this one, 1 divided by 3 is not exact. So we're just going to copy it as it is. Over cube root of 27. Where is it? Right here. 27. Cube root is 3. And then this is 3 divided by 3. That's 1. So this will just become y. So this is the final answer. Alright, those are more examples of simplifying cube roots. Okay, last set of examples. 54. It doesn't appear here. So definitely 64 is out. So the next smaller one is 27. Now does 27 go into 54? Yeah, it does, huh? 27 times 2 is 54. So we're going to use that. So we're going to break it down into cube root of 27 times cube root of 2. Because 27 times 2 is 54. So what's the cube root of 27? 3. So we put 3 for the first one, and then cube root of 2. That's it. Okay, let's do this. Cube root of the numerator, which is 8, and then cube root of the denominator, which is negative 27. That wasn't bad. I think I'm getting used to writing with this late. Okay, so the cube root of 8, it's just, oh, not 8, but a. Okay, so we keep it as it is. Then cube root of negative 27. So 27 appears here, but it's negative, so you have to adjust the sign of your answer. So this will be negative 3. So you can write down your answer as negative, and then cube root of a over 3. Alright, next. Oh, 16. Now why is it 2? 2. Just adjust this 2. So I'll have my space. Okay. So cube root of 16. Well, 16 doesn't appear here. So we can use 8 though, right? 8 times 2 is 16. So let's break it down into cube root of 8 times cube root of 2. Let me get this out of the way. And then the x to the 4. 4 can be, I forgot the cube root over here. Oh. Okay, so cube root of x to the third power, and then cube root of the remainder x, because x3 and x1 will, become x to the 4th. Okay, so what's the cube root of 8? 2. And then, what's the cube root of x to the third power? That's x, right? And then these two guys that are not perfect cubes, you could just put them back together inside the radical symbol. So cube root of 2x. Alright, one last. Oh, 25. Does 25 have a cube root? I don't think so. So cube root of 25. Let's break down the c to the 7. The closest multiple of 3 here is 6, right? So cube root of c6, but there's a leftover 1c, and then the cube root of g to the third power, so we could simplify that later, and the cube root of 64. Okay. Let me do it over here. So cube root of 25, that's not possible. So we're just going to bring it down. Okay. Cube root of c6. So divide 6 by 3. You get 2, right? So c2. This is not possible. So just bring it down. The cube root of g to the third power. So 3 divided by 3 is 1. Okay. All over the cube root of 64 is right here, 64, 4. Alright, now let's clean this up a little bit. So how are we going to write down the final answer? So the final answer will become, combine those that were simplified earlier. So c squared d, and then let's combine these two because they didn't have cube roots. Cube root of 25c. Sorry about that, I ran out of space. And then just write down 4 in the denominator. Alright, so you've seen how to simplify cube roots, both multiplication and division.